Hello, how is everybody today? Tree on Top, your leadership performance coach here with another episode of our Intentional Women Making an Impact. So, I wanted to get on here today and share Christina as part of our series because Christina and I met in a pretty unusual way. And it just shows how the power of some of these online connections can not only help you build your business, but can also help you build your personal growth. So we'll wait a couple seconds for her to be able to come on with the invite that I sent her. And in the meantime, I'll share with you guys, we have some exciting stuff coming up over the next couple weeks. So after I ran Morning Rush and I ran Time to Lead, which was a 6-week program, I had a number of people ask when that was going to be run again. And I also had a feeling just in myself that Time to Lead program needed to be ran longer. So I'm excited to tell you that with the help of Vanessa and Shenna, we have created a way to have this be a 12-week program, and that is going to be opening up on August 1st. So if you are interested in doing Time to Lead, which is going to be a 12-week immersion in your personal leadership, we touch on communication, we touch on engagement, we touch on how to run a certain project, a certain meeting, target and goal setting, again, communication. And I want to make sure, and of course, our personal leadership is at the basis and foundation of everything that's within that group. So I wanted to make sure that I shared that is going to be opening up. So next week, I will have a series of tips that is going to go along with the topics that go with that program. So super excited to announce that for you. Cart is not open on that yet. We're going to open up that next week. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring Christina on here because I see her in the back here and just add her to the stream. I'm so excited for you guys to meet her. All right. Awesome. How are you today?
Hello.
Good.
Good to have you. Good to be here. Sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, I'm really glad that we were able to work out the time because as you kind of share a little bit about yourself, you can share, where you're from and things like that. But so Christina came to me as part of our book collab group. So we want to talk about a little of that today, but I also want you to get the opportunity to really understand where she's coming from in her entrepreneurial journey and the way that she is helping and guiding women with her Self-Love Academy. So why don't you just go ahead and kind of share about yourself within the group and get us started today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I am so excited to be here. I'm tuning in from Transylvania. That is in Romania. And yes, that is where the Dracula story goes around. And as a little girl, I was wondering about those marble stairs of the Dracula castle, which I absolutely love to share because I know that so many of the people that I meet, they wonder if the Dracula story is or not true. So yes, it's true. And it's fascinating. And I have been mentioning that in my book, by the way. You mentioned where we met as a collab of the book coming up. And I'm so glad to be here. This is not about me, but I do want to share that I am the founder of the Self-Love Academy and that I stand for self-love, especially for women. I love, love, love the fact that in our community we can get women to feel seen, heard, and valued exactly as they are, which is absolutely perfect. And that I am an Insight Timer publisher and I guide women to fall in love with themselves through different modalities that are extremely powerful on their self-love healing journey.
I love that. And isn't it interesting how self-love has to be something that's guided? You would think that that's just a natural piece, but the more and more I work with my clients, like I feel like we get into a lot of journaling pieces and we talk it's hard for them to talk about their successes and the things that they're most proud of. And once they realize those things, it's easier for them to move forward in their business. So it feels like that's always the foundation is let's just get right with me, get right with her. And then everything just goes next level from there. So I love that. So
Yeah.
share a little bit about how you got started as taking that into an entrepreneurial journey rather than just working on yourself with those things.
It came really natural. Ever since I was a little girl, I had my best friend. She was overweight and she was extremely controlled by her mother to be the good girl that she was. She had to be. And I was there to support her. I was there not knowing, I was just there as a support pillar and a reminder that the way she's is absolutely perfect, and that the her body doesn't define who she was, because I was very much loving her and caring for her, as I knew the essence of who she was. So I could see her beautiful essence and divine soul, but she seemed to forget or compare herself too much with other people, and with the models that are out there to define how our body should look like in order for us to be called beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So it came pretty natural since I was a teenager. I was standing out. I was very vocal about self confidence, not my self confidence, but that other girls, should be self confident. They have all the reasons to respect themselves and love themselves just the way they are.
Mm-hmm.
And it became entrepreneurial because I loved it. I loved it. It's natural, and I love to connect with women and to lift them up and re- help them remember who they are really. So it came natural.
That's so beautiful. I know when we had our conversation last week, one of the things that I experienced with you is that you just have this calmness about you. It's this calm confidence, and you can just really feel how much you care about the conversation that you're having and about the person that's on the other side. So I'm sure that your clients and anyone who works with you feels that way as well. That's really wonderful. And it's also, one of the things that resonates with me is in that childhood, that those teenage years, hopefully our children have someone similar to that. Like I had someone like that. That was my person. She understood me. I understood her. We're friends to this day. We've been friends since third grade. And we always knew we had that one person that we could depend on, that believed in us more than we even believed in ourselves, right? That we could always go to, non-judgment. And that's just a really beautiful relationship that I hope teenage girls have. I try to share with my daughters, like I tell them all about that person all the time. They call her their aunt. When they see her, they absolutely love her. And it's about like, this is a relationship that helped build me as a person. So super interesting how much people need that. And it really is how you surround yourself with people, right? So how you find that group of people that is out to support each other. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So what do you feel like are your biggest strengths in the business that you're envisioning and working with right now?
hmm So, as a founder of the Self Love Academy, I really want to bring back the the values and the foundation that self love can be for any woman or any person. It doesn't have to be a woman, but I speak about women because women are my audience.
Mhm.
And I want to mention, as you asked me about the entrepreneurial shift, I believe that I was inspired very much by my mother and how she was not looking after herself the way that I envisioned that she deserved to. So, this is what makes my heart bounce when I help other women. This stands at the foundation of what I do in business. And this is something that I mentioned in the book too, so I won't get into it, but definitely that's the fire that keeps me burning and keeps me want to share how important self-love is. And I completely forgot the question.
That's okay. That's okay. I said, what do you feel like is probably your biggest strength in the business that you're in right now that you're able to build from?
Mhm. Straightforwardness. I'm really straightforward, and I joke that this is a Draculan trait. Um, um, and this straightforwardness really comes because I love my clients and I love the community members. So I cannot go around the bush or pretend that everything is okay when I hear that they tell me something, but they feel something else. So I don't take any BS, and BS really stands for limiting belief systems that guides our life. When I see them, I call them out. And very easy, I'm very easy to connect, and I want to believe that I'm present, as you told me at the beginning of this interview. Thank you. That
Mhm.
I'm present and honest with the other person, even if we never met in our life before, and even if it's just across the pond and across the screen like this.
Mhm.
I'm very much a caller for being present in the here and now and appreciating the other person when I'm there in front of them, and the vice versa.
What would you say is probably your best piece of advice when it comes to those limiting beliefs? Because what's interesting is I don't think that people realize the number of comments and conversation that go through their head every single day without them even thinking about it. So I'm reading a book right now called The Untethered Soul.
Hmm.
And the very beginning of it really talks about that background programming, that all these words, it's like you have this annoying little sister in
Hmm.
your ear all day long telling you all the things you're not good at or that you can't do. And what would what would you say is like your best advice for either changing those thoughts or you can't make them stop. So obviously it's shifting them.
Hmm. Um, I really do believe in the power of tapping, the emotional freedom tapping technique that breakthroughs those limiting beliefs, that break through those limiting beliefs extremely fast. Because you get to see the negative and then you get to open up to the positive. So it shifts you in a few minutes. Um, but definitely being present and getting the fact that the present moment is not called present for no reason. It's a gift for you, and waking up to the new day that you have in front of you, not thinking about the past and who you were yesterday and all the upsets of last week. So being able to renew yourself every single day and allowing today to be a gift, and letting go of all the garbage um, that you may have carried around,
Mhm.
simply because you didn't know better.
Feels like it weighs you down sometimes if you're not
Yeah,
able
yeah.
to shift that thought that's coming into your
Mhm.
head, you know? So I'm a huge encourager of a morning routine in some
Mhm.
way. I have a program that I call the Morning Rush that takes us from being stressed out every day to feeling like we're successful because we're like designing our day. Give me an example of something that maybe is a non-negotiable for you if you're setting up your day.
I love that.
Mhm.
um, Mine is wake up soul habit. So what that is a practice that is a recorded audio,
Mhm.
and you do it while in bed. So you wake up, you open your eyes, and then you have that turn playing, in your ears, in your earbuds or a speaker, whatever each one of you uses, but without going to the phone, obviously. So
Mhm.
making it as easy as possible to access that recording. And that recording is an activation of um, the fact that you are alive it reminds you about communicating with your body. So you get to acknowledge your body. It's a beautiful, beautiful activation. I'm so in love with it. And it's like, hello body, hello world. I'm happy to be here. It's like a very playful conversation with your body. I also guide you in that recording to embrace your body and hug your body and acknowledge your feet and your heart and your hands, and just say hello to the world from your joy of being alive. And this sets you in so much gratitude and presence, so that the day becomes your sunshine and your playground, and you just want to, you want to smile, and you want to be in this state all day long. So this energy carries you throughout the day, and it allows others to see that you woke up on the right side of the bed.
I love that. And that does give a little bit of a background to like why I feel like you have just such this peaceful aura about yourself. Um, and when anybody trainer wise that you listen to, follow, whatever, all of them in some way will say, when you first wake up in the morning, one of the first practices that you have is really going to set up your day. So are you waking up and saying, I'm so thankful for this day? Or Lori Harder, which is the first podcast I started listening to called Earn Your Happy. She wakes up every day and she says, today I'm happier, healthier, and wealthier than I was yesterday. It says it every single day. So it's getting that information already in your mind and getting you ready for the day. There was another example in this Untethered Soul book where he said, when you wake up, if you say, I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired, well, what are you telling yourself? I am tired. But if you wake up and you're saying, I'm full of energy, I'm ready for this day, I can take on anything that comes my way, it puts you in a completely different mindset. And that shift is not easy, but it's simple.
Yeah, it's true, and it's not easy, but it's simple. Yeah, and it's just a matter of what's your first choice. And this is why I wanted really much this practice to be in bed before you even touch the ground, so that you're sprinting out of bed. So many people are, not looking forward to what the day brings them, and they feel like they're not in control. So once you set the day for you and the energy that you are in, you're going to be in control. You're going to feel like, yeah, but no matter what comes to me today, I am grateful that I'm alive. And this is like, yeah, bring it on.
Yeah, I love that you say, what's your first choice?
Yeah.
Because it is a choice to
Yeah.
think that and act that way. And when I'm talking leadership with some of my clients, I say the same thing, like, what's your leader choice? What is your leader telling you to do? Because we can be in reaction mode and emotional, and that's not going to get us where we need to be. We have to be able to say, I'm leading this situation, I'm making a choice. So tell me a little bit about where did you first? So I'm super excited. I'm going to put the title of our book across the bottom here because I'm super excited about it for a little bit. Tell me where you first heard of this book collab. Was it in a group? Was it from Dixie herself? Like, how did you hear about it? And then let's kind of talk about what that process has felt like for you.
Um, yeah, I saw Dixie announcing it somewhere. I'm not too sure which book, because it was the first time that I came in contact with Dixie.
Okay.
And I just contacted her directly and I said, I want to be in it, without knowing who are the other women or any other details. But this is a dream of mine to write my book, and it gets me back to the story of sharing how I felt as a little girl when I saw that my mother was giving me all kind of reasons. I don't have time, I have to do this and this, and I can't look after myself. So this was very hurting for me and hurtful. Um, and I really wanted to write this story. So yeah.
I love that. So that's interesting that that's the first time that you had come into contact with her, because I would say very similar. And I think the Facebook group that I saw it in was Sydney's Social Salad community. And in that group, I saw her put the post about, I'm doing this book collab, if you're interested, what have you. And I did the same thing, reached out to her personally, and I'm like, I need a little more information than
Yeah.
do you want to be in it? I got to know what this process is. But I would say it was what I shared with you the other day, a therapeutic process. I've always wanted to write a book. I thought writing a chapter was and going through this exercise was going to be a great first step to build upon. I'm really grateful for that opportunity. And for me, it was therapeutic. So,
Mm.
how would you explain like that process, the writing process for yourself?
It's true. I agree with you. So first of all, the first stage was like, oh my God, how am I going to tie all of this together?
Hmm.
So without giving too much, the first exercise was like the hero journey, right?
Hmm.
And it was playful, but in the same time, quite overwhelming at some point for me because I wanted it to be perfect.
Hmm.
And I wanted to make sure that I respect all the rules and everything. So I'm recovering perfectionist. Um,
Same. Yes.
oh God. Yeah. And so at the beginning it was like, oh my God. And then I just started to write without even thinking about the connection between the paragraphs. I was just writing and writing and writing. And I still say that there's a few stories connected. And I don't know if they're connected in the best way. But now in the second stage was therapeutic. I started to heal. I started to cry. Oh my God, yeah, it was such a release. I realized so many aspects of my relationship with myself and my parents, my sisters, the world. Because at some stage it was like, but what are they gonna say about it?
Mhm.
Am I gonna hurt them? Do I look like a victim?
Mhm.
Do I look like I'm bashing about myself, but then I put my mom in a position of a victimhood? I
Mhm.
was so concerned.
It's so funny how we completely overanalyze to the point that we can almost talk ourselves out
Mhm.
of.
Yeah.
It's similar to an imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is like, I'm not going to start because who am I to do this? And when we get into a situation where we're like, we've got that courage and we get it started, and then we're like, okay, but wait, all of the but what's come in. And I feel like that too is where some of your like fixing and shifting those limiting beliefs comes in, because it's like, no, there is a reason that this book opportunity was put in front of me. There's a reason that the story that I originally wanted to talk about is not what came out, and this one came out instead. So I had to continually remind myself, like, I had to give myself permission to have my own thoughts, share my own version of my story, because that's what it is, right? We all have our
Mhm.
own versions.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The biggest aha moment for me was that this is not about me at all. And I have that aha moment more and more. It's not like one time, but it kind of unfolds to me every time that I get frustrated about technology. As a course creator, I'm like, oh my God, all this tech, all this email sequence, and all of those elements that you need for your customer to have a smooth ride when they're taking your course or whatever journey with you. And then it comes to me that, but this is not about you. Stop making it about you. It's not like you look on on this program. It's not like you sound. It's about something so much bigger than you. It's the message, and those people who need this message are going to connect with you and they're going to get it. And it's the same with the book. So what I've realized is that um, people are going to relate with us, and not necessarily in the stories that we hope they will
Mhm.
and how we want them to. They will relate with us in a certain story, even though their story was completely different than ours. But
Mhm.
they something that we say makes them feel like um, our story is the same as theirs, if it makes sense.
Mhm.
So it's there's some kind of, like a big puzzle. There's some puzzle pieces and they're not the ones that you hope or you promise or um, you plan to ring a bell into their lives, into their healing process. It's completely something that you probably think it's so foolish and simple, and maybe it shouldn't be in the book. So
Right.
that was that was like, oh my god, yes, so stop making it about yourself, Christina. It's not about you.
Yes, and what's so interesting is that I think everybody in that group probably had a similar moment where we were so stuck on like how we felt the story we were giving, and then we had to stop and we had to say, but it's not for me.
Yeah,
It's almost like this story is giving permission to somebody else to share theirs or to
exactly.
push through something that they're going through, or big or small, again, it's our version. So that's super interesting. I love. So overall, do you feel like it has been a great process for you to go through that you would be open and willing to go through again?
Yes, I'm very hopeful and trusting and confident more in my ability that I can pull, one book um, coming together. And I must give credit to a very good friend. She started being an attendee, a participant to my live sessions on the Insight Timer, Amy, and she has written a book, and she has putting it into onto a stage, like a theater piece.
That's
And
amazing.
yes, and then she offered to help me, to support me with this. So I must mention her, because her encouragement and her like, but I love the way you do this, and this is so unique, and da da da. It was like, oh my god, really?
We need those hype girls. Yes, I always say for my clients, I'm like, I will be your hypiest hype girl ever. You just wait.
And so she filled my heart with a little bit more joy and confidence that I'm great at writing. I'm great enough at writing so that I can write my book. And that was really important at that stage of the writing, because it allowed me to let go of the perfectionism and judgmental treatment that I was giving myself, even as a self-love coach.
How do we torture ourselves? Why? All right, awesome. So where and how, because I know when you and I talked the other day, you don't spend a lot of time on Facebook. So again, thank you for coming on here to do the interview within the group. Groups, we're in multiple places right now. So share with me where people can find you, maybe why you chose that different path when it comes to social platforms, and the easiest way for them to do that.
Yeah. So we'll have to put the links somewhere exactly for them to find us. But Insight Timer is the application and the platform that I use is an application on your phone that you can download. And it's number one support for sleep, spirituality, meditation, healing. It has, I don't know how many millions, I forgot how many millions of meditators there. And the reason that I chose that is because I have worked a lot on Facebook and Instagram. I really did my best to find my tribe.
Mhm.
And I haven't. I was not able to, and I know that I'm not the only one. And that's because of all the algorithms and um, the intentions behind these platforms.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm still on Facebook and Instagram. It's just that I'm not actively engaged in the in getting business or yeah. So the Insight Timer, once I started to go live there as a teacher and publisher, I just found that those people were there intentionally,
Mhm.
and I feel like they're engaging, and they're on their self healing journeys, different stages, but extremely interested and invested in their healing. So then they hear me, they hear my message. I feel
Mhm.
like I'm heard, because even us teachers and coaches, we want to feel heard. we don't want to waste our time and energy in places where you just feel like, oh, they're just passing by and they give you a like and that's it.
Mhm.
So I feel that platform extremely spiritual and high vibe comparing to the other social media platforms, which
I
are
love that. So normally when people come in to do these interviews, so in the Female Leader headquarters, all the interviews are under guide 2. And then if you can just go back into the comments in that group and put in those
yeah,
links, that would be awesome. And then that way people can
I will.
follow that way as they're interested. So,
Absolutely.
of course, I put you on hot seat for 30 minutes. It looks like we're at on StreamYard here. So I always give you guys, first of all, permission in pre-approval in the Female Leader headquarters for you to be able to post and share your ideas, mindset shifts, things like that in our group after doing one of these interviews. But also, I give you the opportunity to ask me one question as well. So it can be favorite color, it can be favorite book, it can be something completely different. But I give you a hot seat opportunity as well.
Okay. So, if I was to ask you, how much do you love yourself from 1 to 10? And why? What would you say?
Oh, interesting. That's a good one. I love that. So, how much do I love myself on a 1 to 10? You know, I'm gonna say probably an 8 or a 9. I honestly have done a lot of mindset work over the last year, a lot. Now, it also depends on what situation I'm in because I'm a teacher, I'm a business owner, right? We working in the restaurant, manager, coach, those sort of things. So I think in each situation, I have lots of growth. But the reason I would say 8 or 9 over like a basic 6 or 7 is because I know I have room to grow. But I
Mm.
also allow that and encourage that because it's all learning, right? We're all different people with everything that we try and in different situations that we're in. And I think feeling like we have to fit into this one mold or be this one person is almost kind of self shaming, where I feel like I'm growing and I'm flexible and it just kind of depends on what's happening. And I learn from the things that happen and give myself that grace. And it took me a long time to do that because I'm a recovering perfectionist as well.
Mhm. And why do you love yourself?
What a beautiful question. I think it's that feeling of like, I love to learn. I love to learn, but I also love to teach. So as I'm learning things, I love the fact that I am open to sharing and also open to saying, hey, I didn't know this, or I had a problem with this before, and I don't want you to struggle in the same way. So I'm going to share with you what I learned. And then having almost an unattachment to it. Being like, if you want to use it, great. And it works for you, wonderful. If you don't, then you don't. It's your deal. I'm just sharing.
Mhm.
So I think that that's probably the main thing is being, confident enough to do that.
I love that. So you're generous and kind.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Um, it took a long time to also take compliments. So I appreciate that. Thank you for seeing that. All right. So we do have these going under guide 2 in the Female Leader headquarters in Systems to Scale group. You're welcome to look back on videos to be able to get these replays. And we'd love to know if you're here for the replay as well. Thank you, Christina, so much for coming on here. And I cannot wait for this book to come out because I'm super excited to see your story.
Me too.
All right. You
Thank
have
you
a
for
great
having me.
day and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.